The Way I Feel is a book about a little girl who she has different faces for her different emotions, and she shares them in her book, and she talks about how when she's happy she makes a face, and when she's sad or silly she makes a face, and she just talks about all the different facial expressions that you can connect to emotions, and it's just a really good book for students who just struggle with the way that they feel. There's tons of videos out there also for social emotional learning. You can type in on YouTube, cartoons for social emotional learning, and tons of stuff will pop up to get your, if you have a break during the day and want to let your kids watch that, to get something that they learn from it. There's so much more out there about that than what's just on this slide. These are just some of my favorite books that I researched and I found about social emotional learning. The next slide is connect to real life examples, and it's just different games that can connect to different real life scenarios. The first one is the emotions Jenga that I found. You just get a Jenga game, and on random blocks you write different emotions to learn about, like anger, happiness, worry, boredom, jealousy, anything. And a student pulls an emotion Jenga block out, and then they'll tell their partner what that emotion is and what it means and how that makes them feel. You can do that up to fifth grade, but since I'm doing my topics on pre-K through second grade, it would definitely work for second graders. But for pre-K and kindergarten, you could, instead of writing the emotions on the blocks, you can draw them on there. So for happy, you can put a smiley face, and when the student takes that Jenga block, they can know that hey, it's a smiley face, that means happy, and they can tell their partner how they feel and what they think it means. The next one is this kindness scavenger hunt. I had never really heard of this, but I love the idea of it. You get a different calendar, a different month calendar every month, and all of the days on the calendar of that month have different random acts of kindness on them. And once a student has completed a random acts of kindness, then they'll just color it in. And each student will have a calendar, a kindness calendar as they call it. And it can be so simple. It can be, for kindergartners. They can't zip their coats. Maybe some of them can't. And another friend can. So they go over there and, help a friend zip a coat. So they'll just color that in off of their calendar. And they can even make up the different random acts of kindness before they start. Maybe that's what y'all do at the beginning of the year. And then you have calendars, or the beginning of the month, and you'll have one every month. And they can make them up. You can make them up. Y'all could do that together, just to see how many kindness things your students can find. Because students need to see that there is still kindness in the world, and it still exists. Because nowadays it's just so hard to see that in some things that you do. The other game that I found was called Silly Street, and you can find it on Amazon. It's probably about $15, but I think it'd be a really cool investment to have in your classroom. But it's just a fun and a silly game that will help kids develop their social skills, confidence, adaptability. In this game, it helps kids understand their emotions in different real life scenarios. So the kids will get a card, and on the card it will have a different, real life scenario. And I think the student has to figure out which emotion they can connect with that card. And it's just, some of it's really silly, so that the kids have fun learning, and it's just a good and engaging game to have for character skills also. There's so many more games out there too that I found on Pinterest that I just couldn't fit on here. My next one is called the apps that can help with social emotional learning. These were three of my favorites that I found. They're different age levels. The Social Express can be any age level. It's age appropriate for probably pre-K through high school probably. But in this app, you will be able to watch webisodes. And the webisodes, they connect with different social scenarios throughout life. Like I said, since it's age appropriate, I'm sure for kindergarten and pre-K, it's probably cartoons. And the students can have an interactive activity after they're finished with that webisode. And they will have scores that can report back to you as the teacher, and you can see their scores and how they did on that different interactive activity. But parents can also see it. Parents can interact with it too, with the students, if they're doing it at home. But the other one that I found was Smiling Mind, and it's different from the Social Express. It's more of like meditation, and parents can do this one with the child too at home. Some of the different meditations talk to the parents, and it helps them have a better relationship with their child, and how they can interact socially and emotionally with their child. But I thought that was pretty cool, and it also does report backs if you want it to report back to you as the teacher, or it can do it to the parent. Just something that is cool to have. The next one is Touch and Learn Emotions. This one's more for like pre-K through kindergarten age. It's just basically where you'll have a different emotions come up on the screen, and the child will touch whatever face that they want, and it will tell the emotion. It's just a simple and easy way for students that are that young to see how you can connect facial expressions to emotions. But there's so many more apps out there that you could find that will help with social and emotional learning. This is one of my articles. It's Promoting Social and Emotional Learning in Physical Education. So many students don't want to just sit in a classroom all day and apply, even though they might not be just sitting in their desk, but so they can apply it to outside of the classroom. It can be games, it could be at recess, it could be during PE, like this article talks about. But it just gives physical educators principles and guidelines for learning, applying, and evaluating actual tactics for supporting social and emotional learning within their programs. The 5 main skills of social and emotional learning is described by the Collaborative for Academic Social and Emotional Learning. It will be discussed in the article. And I put the link of the article down here for you so that you can go back and look if you would like. But let's see. This is called the Second Step Program. It's a program strictly for SEL for students pre-K through 8th grade. This program has different bundles that you can buy that the school can buy. Now, it's pretty pricey, but if you bought it for a school system, it's not that bad. It helps change schools into supportive, achieving learning environments, solely to get kids prepared for the future and to help them succeed in the long run. The curriculum is aligned with district standards. This program has engaging lessons that capture students' attention, including games, activities, and songs too, just depending on their age. They have a lot of K through 5th grade stuff. There's the different bundles might be bullying, safety, there's different types for different administrators. There's a principal bundle that has, I guess, all of it in there, and that they can distribute out to the teachers. But I put the link to the website down here, so all you have to do is click on it. But there's a video also about Second Step and what it's about, and it's just a cute little video explaining more of what it's about. But I really like that program, and I hope maybe at the school I'm at in the future, they could look at something to do and invest in this program. This next slide is called the pyramid model for social and emotional competence. This is just a model of from basically childhood to adulthood. It starts with intensive intervention, targeted social emotional supports, high quality supportive environments, nurturing and responsive relationships, and an effective workforce. And this next slide that I'm going to show you, I put a video in there about how a teacher used this in her classroom, this pyramid model. And you can watch it a little bit later, but it's just talking about how the school system who implemented social and emotional learning through using the pyramid model for social and emotional competence. It also talks about some tips and tools to use in the classroom. And she talks about how as you go out through the day, you're teaching social and emotional learning throughout the whole entire day. It's not just something that you sit down and, let's learn about math today. And that's, that 30 minutes, 45 minutes that you learn about math. This is something that you teach constantly all day. Because social and emotional learning deals with sharing, especially for, kindergarten through 2nd grade. And it just deals with peer acceptance, relationship skills. And so she just talks about how she has been at the school for 10 years and she did not do the pyramid model. And after she started doing the pyramid model, she saw a drastic change in not only how she taught, but also how her children related with one another, how they accepted one another, and they shared more. She said she just saw a drastic difference in the child. And social emotional learning is for all different learners, not just one learner. And that's what I really like about it. But she also talks about how one of the tools that she uses is called a Busy Bee, and it's a binder that has a beehive in it, printed on a piece of paper, and it has bee stickers. And the stickers the stickers are for the students. Each one has a sticker, and during the day, if they did something safe or they were safe all day, then their bee can go in the hive. And if their bee is out of the hive by the end of the day, then they know that they did something unsafe, or they weren't safe that day, and what they did. And she talks about it with them and talks about how tomorrow will be different and how tomorrow you will be safe. And she just makes a plan for them. So I just thought that was really cool, and how she used that tactic. My next slide is another article on social emotional learning for children with learning disabilities. This article, it talks about the main job of social emotional programs for children with learning disabilities. The beginning of the article discusses the challenges that students with learning disabilities may cross in their education. All children struggle with peer acceptance and making friends at some point. It may not take as long as others to be accepted, but children with disabilities also experience peer acceptance, friends, and social isolation, low self-esteem, and behavior problems. The article ends with touching on the topic of the need of universal social and emotional learning as a path for the academic and social presence of children with learning disabilities. I put the link to the article right down here, and it just it's kind of a lengthy article, but it's worth a read too. And then this is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you can scan the QR code, and it will take you to my Padlet, and you're able to answer or write a question, and I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. And I hope to be able to learn from you guys and apply it in my future classroom. But I'll show you what my Padlet looks like. This is my Padlet, and you'll go right down here to this pink little circle with a plus sign, and you'll press it. You'll press it and you're able to write something, and I hope that I can learn from you guys and just be able, if you put a question in and I don't know the answer, to be able to research it and find it and to learn more about this topic. This topic is just something that I didn't realize was such a need in the classroom. And when I first was assigned this topic, I was kind of nervous because I didn't know what all I could talk about, but there's tons more that I could talk about on this topic, and just researching it. You can even go to Pinterest and find tons of games that will just help in the classroom, and that will help students learn more, and they can learn from their peers. They can learn, obviously from you, but they also can learn from seeing other students, learn socially and emotionally. And I just think that being able to teach this in a classroom will just be a better advantage for our students as they get older, and as they are able to just go out through their lives and just be a better person, and that they would succeed more with being socially and emotionally learned. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope you learned from it, and I can't wait to see the others and learn from them also.